So normally in our workshops, we like to set up some basic ground rules before we dive into the material and get into some more discussions, just to make sure that we are building as safe and as brave of a place as possible. So I'd like you just to take a look at the ground rules. Obviously, since we're doing this on video, this is slightly different than it would normally be. But as we go through the presentation, I would really encourage you to be curious and brave. I think that a lot of that involves acknowledging what we don't know already, what we want to know, and really just focusing on that and being brave in these discussions coming up, because there definitely will be some vulnerable moments and reflections, but we want to encourage that kind of conversation. And I think also begin implementing new language once you learn it. There's going to be a lot of tools and resources here, lots of new language, and we would love for you to start using it right away. Start practicing it right away, get comfortable with it. And of course, we'll give you some resources along the way to help you build up that comfort level with them. And again, you can check out these other ground rules for our other workshops, but as for the video, we'll keep going. And we'll talk about our agenda. So for our elementary educator workshop, we will be doing a basic check-in, just kind of seeing where we're at as we enter into the space. We'll show an introduction video along with some data to kind of set the stage before we get into the conversation. We will do an overview of LGBTQ plus identities. So we'll dive a little deeper into gender and what that actually means, and sexual identity and what that actually means, and then the identities that would fall under each identity. And we will talk about building inclusive classrooms. So in that, we will talk about mostly just the classroom and different lesson plans you can implement using our elementary educator toolkit that we will also dive into and show you important elements of. And we'll then talk about building inclusive schools and communities. So we'll expand the conversation a little bit to our school community as a whole, but then also our community even wider, whether that be in Marin or our personal friend group and support group, our families, any kind of community you belong to. Lastly, we'll look at some action steps, so some actual steps that we can take in the near future, whether that be before the end of the school year or over the summer or next school year. And lastly, we'll do a checkout, just kind of a reflection of the workshop as a whole. For our high school and middle school educator workshop, our agenda will actually be exactly the same, except instead of diving into the elementary educator toolkit, we'll dive into our other general toolkit. And then we'll also include some information on bystander intervention too, and we'll give you some training and practice on that as well. So now we come to our check-in. Same thing, obviously, through the video. This is not quite the same experience, but if you want to just check in with yourself before we get started, how are you feeling today? Are you feeling like this sleepy panda? Are you feeling like this very colorful, fancy bird in the middle? Feeling like those dogs working out, squirrel or chipmunk, not sure, snacking, the cat at the computer, the dog with the head massager. What are you feeling like today? What kind of emotions and feelings are you bringing into this space with you before we start this conversation? As for me, I think I'm feeling like the bird right now. I'm trying to channel that energy and really just be confident and excited to talk to you all today. So next, we wanted to show this video, that the Spar Center video. So if you all could take a few minutes to watch it on your own time, that would be wonderful. But I just wanted to give you kind of a brief little preview that the students featured in this video, first of all, are just incredible. You'll see it yourself. And they also just so beautifully share their stories about their gender identities and share their experience in education while being in Marin schools. So it's very applicable to the discussion we're about to have. I personally really love this video, and it just makes me so hopeful for our future if young folks like these are leading the way. And I think just hearing these stories from their mouths can be really powerful in digesting this information we're about to cover. So I hope you enjoy the video.